Welcome to the Inner Compass podcast. I'm your host, Alyssa Cotten. I'm on a mission to help female entrepreneurs find and nurture their inner compass by tuning into their mental health, mindset, and personal development. When your inner compass points north, your true north, that's where magic and alignment begins. Having a life filled with possibilities, happiness, and a lot of fun. Abundance is waiting for you. Let's get started with today's episode. Hi everyone, I am so excited for the first podcast of Inner Compass podcast. I wanted to start off with today's episode of really leaning in and talking about the concept of the inner compass. I really found the inner compass kind of analogy right in the middle of quarantine. It was March of 2020 and I was going through a lot of stressors and snafus with having to close my family business and having to go completely virtual with my in-person practice. And I was experiencing a lot of anxiety, a lot of uncertainty, a lot of unknown. What am I going to do with my business? What am I going to do with my clients? How am I going to get on the other side of this? And I was doing a lot of inner work because, as we know, during that time, there wasn't an opportunity to look outside of us. We all really had to take that time to look inside of us, which is where I kind of found my own journey of nurturing and finding my own inner compass. So the inner compass is when you look inward for answers, and when your inner compass points north, your true north, that is where alignment and magic happens. You are doing everything that is in best with your highest timeline, your highest self. You are acting and thinking in ways that are going to help grow and scale yourself personally and professionally. And that's kind of how the inner compass identity came to be for myself. Obviously, the theme of an inner compass has been around for a long time, but it entered my world in March of 2020. And I just thought it was the most beautiful just understanding of looking inward. So often we are looking outside of ourselves for answers, for information, and I'm guilty of this too. When I'm struggling with something, I'm like, okay, what can I buy online that can help me get through this? Or who can I contact? And the connection of the inner compass is really looking inward for those answers. Whether that's through being quiet and journaling, meditation, EFT tapping. We're going to talk about that a lot on the podcast, but really taking that time to look inward. When I'm thinking about the inner compass relationship and connecting to your inner compass, I really want to talk about the theming and the theory of either choosing your reality versus changing your reality. And language is so important. And what we are hearing right now in the personal development world, it's all about how can I change my reality? How can I change everything that I'm doing? How can I change my business? How can I change what makes me happy? And we're constantly focusing on change. And change implies that we are not in control and that we have not had a say in our reality. And the beauty of the inner compass is choosing your reality. So something you can start doing, and since I've started doing this myself, my identity of choice feels so empowering. Instead of saying, I want to change my reality, lean into the identity of I am choosing my reality. Because when you decide to choose the reality that you want, you are in the driver's seat. I am choosing to engage in healthy activities, or I'm choosing to move my body, I'm choosing to read, I'm choosing to meditate for my mind, I'm choosing to connect to nature. When we put choice back in our language, in our vocabulary, it empowers us. But you notice how you feel when you say, all right, I need to change my habits, or I need to change my reality, I need to change. And when we focus on the language of change, it implies that we didn't have that choice to begin with, that we are not taking full responsibility of our own well-being. And I believe as we are on this journey of nurturing our inner compass and finding that life of that sweet spot of having everything that we desire, everything come together in the most magical aligned way, is by focusing on choice. And if you take anything away in today's podcast, is reminding yourself that at every step of the way in your life, even if you're at the lowest of the lows versus the high of the high, you have choice. You have the choice of how you do your hair. You have your choice of how you get dressed. You have the choice of what music you listen to when you're driving to the grocery store. And these small tweaks that we can do can really realign and revamp our relationship with our inner compass. So bringing the identity back that you constantly have choice. Going back to the identity of choice, of choosing what you want to show up in your reality. Choosing, do I want to have a successful business? Choosing, do I want to have a healthy relationship with my friends, with my family, with my loved ones? Instead of saying the word change, which again implies that we weren't in the say. We were saying, I'm going to change this. It's like, well, what led you to needing the change in the first place? Was it some outside circumstance? Yes, that happens. But more than often, it's our own choices that have led to the reality we're experiencing today. And as we're on this journey of nurturing and tuning in to our inner compass, figuring out that identity of who we want to become. You're more than likely listening to this podcast as you're seeking some support, whether it's your mental health, mindset, or even personal development. When we can identify the identity that we want to have, it is easier to make those choices of what we want to do every single day that is going to lead us to have that life or that reality that we are choosing. So for example, if you want to embody the identity of someone who is healthy, happy, and successful, beautiful, those three things we can all really strive for. Then ask yourself, what choices do I need to make today in order to be in alignment with that identity? All right, if I want to be healthy, I probably need to move my body. Maybe I need to eat a healthy meal, drink enough water. If I want to be happy, well, then I need to incorporate things that are going to make me happy. Maybe I'm going to play some music or wear my favorite color and really embrace what makes you happy today. So when we get to focus on that identity, it's such a powerful, magical experience, because when we focus on the identity that we are choosing to incorporate in our present day reality, we get to decide the habits and the choices today that are going to eventually lead us to embodying that identity tomorrow. Again, the choices we make today choose the person we become tomorrow. And that is so empowering, recognizing that today we get to start over today. And we get to decide, what habits do I want to do today that are going to connect me to that identity of who I want to become tomorrow. Thank you so much for tuning in today's podcast. Again, remember, when your inner compass points north, everything is in alignment and your identity is connected. You get to choose your reality. Stop focusing on changing your reality. Take the power back and choose who you want to become and the identity you want to embrace. Thank you for tuning into today's episode. If you're looking for more guidance as you nurture and tune into your inner compass, check out the show notes below to learn how to join the membership Inner Compass support or even get some one-on-one support on your journey.